we have the very hot and honestly passing the eye test Minnesota Vikings on both offense and defense. They look like a good team. They're at home here taking on the Houston Texans in a non-conference road spot for the Texans. They're laying 2.5, Sean. This is a big move off the look ahead of 4, where I think maybe people are getting, they're riding high. They're feeling good about the Vikings. Plus 114 home dog, 45.5 is the total. Anytime you have a team that is undefeated ATS, you're implicitly just thinking, okay, the dog going against this team at some point is probably going to be the way to go.
Yep.
But I think something we may have not accounted for, Sean,
listening,
the Brian Flores revenge tour this entire season.
Okay.
We know the story about the lawsuit and him getting blackballed out of a job. Thanks to Belichick texting the wrong Brian.
That was really funny.
But Tua called him a terrible human being just weeks ago.
Yeah.
You don't think he wants to go out and show every one of these young quarterbacks how terrible he is? Brian Flores against a young quarterback who, by the way, did you see the clip of CJ Stroud trying to bestow some wisdom on Caleb Williams?
Funny.
And Caleb was like, "Fuck off."
Yeah.
That was weird. Maybe J Mark's right about this guy.
I could wait about. So who do you think that was weirder on, Caleb Williams or CJ Stroud?
I think it's very normal for quarterbacks to get together and have a word, say something in the other guy's ear, have a quick conversation. I think that's completely normal. I think CJ Stroud was seeing a guy who clearly is beat the fuck up and was probably just trying to keep his spirits high. Now I understand not wanting to hear that.
Yeah.
But you were so buttoned up the entire pre-draft process. You came off like such a pro. And in the first moment where there's a little bit of adversity in an on-camera moment, you look like a petulant child.
Well, I would say this in Caleb Williams' defense, someone that's the same age as you giving you like old man advice. It's a little like, all right, dude, come on. You know, you won.
But you're in a league where like, it doesn't matter if the guy's older or younger than you. It's about like that guy's somewhere you want to be. And so, yeah, I think if you're looking at it like that, yeah, you're not going to last very long. I mean, just look at the situation we'll talk about in a little bit with Andy Dalton, Bryce Young. You got to be a pro with this stuff, and you got to be willing. Like, yeah, I thought that looked worse for Caleb Williams. If you're about, is the other side of it that CJ Stroud is trying to look like a fucking, like he's trying to build some sort of reputation.
I don't know. I could, I would put it this way: if I was in Caleb Williams' place and I just lost a game on prime time like that, and then I got a guy who's the same age as me, who I think I'm much better than, giving me advice and like saying keep your head up, I could see being annoyed at that. So I feel for him.
Yeah,
but I
unfortunately
like CJ,
you're not better than him.
I like CJ Stroud. League. I like CJ Stroud, and I'm fine with Caleb Williams thinking he's better than CJ Stroud. He should think that he's a quarterback. What I don't believe,
smile and say thanks, man. Good game.
Yeah, is Sam Darnold. This is an outlier right now. Sam Darnold, this is not going to continue. So we know who Sam Darnold is. Don't fall for the Sam Darnold trap.
Are we sure?
Yes. And this is the massive letdown spot for the Vikings. I mean, come on, Sam Darnold in the locker room celebrating the revenge game. This is when you fade the Vikings. The Vikings, this is a all-time high Vikings. What was the number before the season started for the Vikings? If you're backing the Vikings, even though they're a home dog, you're buying them at their absolute height. The look ahead line, I'm sure, was like, if you knew Sam Darnold was the starter preseason for this week 2 game, I'm sure it would have been like Houston -6. The Vikings dumped the Gatorade.
The preseason number was Houston by 3.5.
Was that with Sam Darnold as the starter?
This was the off-season opener, so it's either Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, which I think Sam Darnold probably had similar or higher value.
You want to talk about revenge game? Cam Akers revenge game. I think I like CJ Stroud.
Danielle Hunter too.
Yeah, Danielle Hunter. Revenge game. I can trust CJ Stroud in a close game. I know maybe.
Can you?
Yeah. I can
against Brian Flores.
Yes,
we're not at all worried about.
Love it.
Young quarterback against Brian Flores.
Yeah,
He's confused the last two quarterbacks.
Show me a spot where CJ Stroud has looked overwhelmed. Yes, in the divisional round of the playoffs game in the second half, he was in over his head. Other than that,
at times last week, I thought he looked to be making some almost poor decisions.
Oh, okay. I thought he played a pretty good game, played within himself. Cam Akers doesn't fumble on the 1 yard line. They win by double digits. No one says a thing.
I think well aware that the Vikings are probably a little overrated right now.
Yep.
But I did.
So you think the Vikings get up for this game internally?
I did go back and look to see this exact thing. Is the number moving accordingly? Because I would think people are down on the Texans and high on the Vikings, but it's not the case. It's not the case with where the number has gone. And I think you can look at the Texans in a couple of different lenses. They played down to their competition in both weeks, I thought, and they let teams hang around in situations maybe they shouldn't have. And I think this Vikings team, more so than any team in the league, not named the Saints, they've had a plan on offense and defense. They've had a plan and they've executed.
D'Amico Ryans versus Sam Darnold. Love that match.
That worries me a little.
Love it. Bring it.
But I also like this being a home game for the Vikings.
And you haven't even talked about Justin Jefferson. And he's dealing with the quad contusion.
He's fine.
Okay, so he's going to be 100%.
I think he's going to be 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Derek Stingley will limit him to under 100 yards.
I don't think anyone can limit Justin Jefferson.
Okay, I think you throw in the injury and a good cornerback, a motivated Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson.
I understand why you'd want to lay the 2.5 with Houston on the road here.
Yes.
I totally get it.
Great.
But and they're probably not looking ahead to a nice divisional matchup against Jacksonville. But I think there's too many elements of what the Vikings have done that is believable. And I don't think you can. I think
you're overrating their week 1 win.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm definitely not, because they backed it up in week 2.
And you want to talk about looking ahead? Vikings go into Lambeau next week.
That's fine.
Okay.
This is a huge. You have CJ Stroud coming to town again. I think the defense is a bigger advantage than you're letting on for Brian Flores. That defense is feeling themselves right now.
Yeah.
And I absolutely think they're going to be able to do some of the same things here. And I do think it's a big deal that Joe Mixon is hurt, because he was bringing a certain type of physicality to their offense that you're not getting the same thing from Cam Akers and Dare Abu, whatever his name is. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. So yeah, I'll take the points here. We'll differ. I'll take a dog. And I'll foolishly buy the Vikings for one more week at least.
Enjoy.
Yeah, maybe next week's the week I sell. Game number.
You didn't buy him week 1 though.
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't buy them week 1. I thought it was foolish. And then Sam Darnold looked good in this offense. And then he looked good again in this offense.
All right.
You're acting like they've been fluky, and I don't think anything about what they've done in either game.
97-yard touchdown bomb was a little fluky
to Justin Jefferson, and that's a hell of a throw.
Yeah,
that's not a fluky. They called a play and it worked. And you got Justin Jefferson. You're going to do that. You want to see Sam Darnold taking those shots.